What is up, people? Welcome back to another episode of Stars and Garters. I am Katie Pettit once again, and today we're doing a random FANDOM Friday. Now, I'm tired today, so, see how that affects stuff, because I've been at a smart people competition all day, and I mean, we won all our things, so yay, but still, I'm very sleepy, and I want to sleep. But I also do want to do this, because it's fun. So, today, something that I hadn't thought about doing this before, it just kind of came to my mind. Because I've heard people defending certain Disney villains, and, certain defenses, at this point, have almost become like a pet peeve, because it's like so many people believe them, and I don't understand why. So today we are going to be looking at how villainous these Disney villains were. Now, the way I picked these villains is I picked the ones I wanted to do, and no specific order at all. Just gonna do whatever I really want here. Basically, we're gonna see if, first of all, if they even did anything wrong, because that's even been an argument a few times, and then we're gonna see if, when they did, was it understandable? Do they have at least somewhat like, oh, man, I get that it stinks that happened to you, even though you were still wrong. Still, it makes sense how you would kind of end up there. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so, it's crazy, but I've heard a defense for this villain before, because first up, we're going to go with Cruella de Vil. Yeah, the puppy killer. I have heard some defense for the puppy killer. See, the defense for her is, so first of all, did she do anything wrong? The defense on this part is, puppies aren't people, and technically, they're just animals, so killing them, even though I don't see any good reason to, and I think it's just kind of a jerk move if you are into that, and you should probably get some therapy, technically it is not wrong. However, Cruella wanted to kill other people's puppies, which, while this is not murder, it is stealing, because that's not her property. She's doing stuff she wants with someone else's property. So, while it is not murder, it is still stealing. And so, did she do something wrong? Yes. She was a thief. And, I don't remember this movie too well, but I'm pretty sure she did some other very morally questionable things. But, the main thing, thievery. So, did she have an understandable motive, I guess? Well, her main thing was that she wanted a coat. So, yeah. No. I'm gonna have to say no on that one. It's pretty hard to defend you when you're like, I want to kill these puppies. Oh, are they attacking people? No, I just want to make a coat. You can't go buy a coat. You can't draw some black spots on a white coat. It's like, no, I want to kill those puppies. Okay, cool, I guess. But yeah, she's a very unredeemable villain. And they gave her her own movie and made her seem like a great person. For the record, I liked the movie Cruella, but it makes no sense for the character, because, in the movie, you're like, Cruella would never want to kill a puppy, and in the movie, you're like, that person would totally kill puppies, and that's what she's trying to do. So, it doesn't really make sense. So, yeah. It's crazy that they gave one of the least redeemable villains in all of their history. They were like, we need to explain why she wanted to kill puppies. She's evil. That's why. Okay, so, but yeah. Not innocent and not reasonable. Alright. So we're gonna move right along to Aladdin's Jafar. Now this one is interesting. First of all, did he do anything wrong? Yeah. He did try to, is it usurp? I think it's usurp. Tried to usurp the throne, which is treason, I think. To be fair, the king was not a smart man. He didn't seem, or the sultan, my bad. He didn't seem very capable, honestly, if I'm thinking about it. And he was trying to marry off his daughter. He just didn't seem like a great guy in general. So, but it pretty clearly was not Jafar's intention to help the people. He just wanted all the power. And also a few attempted murders there. And then he kind of made out with a minor, but she instigated that, so we're not gonna even no. Stop talking about that now. So definitely not an innocent man. Now, are his motives reasonable? Does it make sense? Well, like I said, it was mainly a power thing. He didn't really want Jasmine, as far as I'm remembering. He didn't, you know, again, he wasn't being focused on the people. He just wanted to be the Sultan. So, he didn't really have any good motives. Although, he might have been better suited for the job and good things might have come of that. Him, as a character, is still very villainous because all he wanted was power. Not to give the people a more capable leader. And not to, be a good husband to Jasmine. He was just doing whatever he could to get to the top. And then, eventually, he was like, I just want all the power, please. Can I just rule the world? So, not really much good reason to his plan. Not really a sympathetic guy. He had a nice beard, though, so good for him. And his villain song is crazy. If you actually heard it, it's like he has one, and it's kind of wild. So, yeah. No, not innocent, not reasonable. Sorry. So, the next one that we have, and I haven't seen this movie in a while, which is crazy. I kind of need to rewatch that. But yeah, the next one is The Little Mermaid's Ursula, a classic villain. Her villain song is great, which kind of makes me want to root for her a little bit, but it ain't that good. So did she do anything wrong? Let's see. I mean, she lied, which is not a crime, but she did do that. Did she try to kill anybody? I don't know. What was even her goal? Did she just want to be on the throne? Or was she, getting back at Triton? Is that his name? I can't remember. Why did she do this? I don't think that she really directly committed any crimes that are springing to mind. I feel like I'm wrong, but I can't think of anything she, did that was actually criminal or villainous, technically. Just a lot of deception. It feels like a revenge plot, so, yeah. She might not, have any, she might not actually be a villain in terms of doing villainous things, just a lot of lying, which is wrong, but is it, the heroes of Disney movies lie all the time, so, I don't know, I feel like there's nothing like that. I mean, she did get giant at the end, which she was probably trying to kill some people there. Can't remember it well enough. And so her motives, again, I think it seems like a revenge plot, against Triton. I feel like he, might have banished her. So okay. Wait a minute. No. She was supposed to be okay. So she was supposed to be a ruler in the first place, and then Triton banished her. So yes, it is a revenge plot, which means that she's going to be a little bit more reasonable. So yeah, I think it's, of course, it's not a good thing, but we can understand why she is angry. She is just slightly, because it's not, the greatest thing to do to make a villain sympathetic. Just Triton was kind of a jerk, and now she's angry. But she did get banished with all those, like, the nasty bad part. So it's like, you can kind of see where she's coming from, but she's not the most reasonable as far as her motives go. So I'm gonna say, technically, she is kind, like, in terms of, like, actual crimes, she is technically innocent, and then she is slightly reasonable. Like, just a little bit kind of reasonable, I would say. So, moving on to one that I'm excited to talk about, because I have some strong thoughts about this dude, because I hate his guts. So, next one we have is Beauty and the Beast Gaston. Okay, so I've heard people defending Gaston, saying all he wanted was some sort of, what was the word they used? Like, what was the word they used? Like, conservative family or something like that. I can't remember the word they used. They tried to make it sound like it was the right kind of family, with Belle, and she's just this weird girl who's going off and marrying a bear thing and rejected him. So the movie is all Belle's fault. So, okay, let's just address this. First of all, as far as being innocent go, he attempted to murder the Beast, who was a sentient being and technically a human. He was just trapped inside a beast body. So we have attempted murder. He kidnapped Belle and threw her in the dungeon. I'm going to call that kidnapping, because that's the closest thing to what I think it is. And held her against her will. So technically, yeah, that kind of stuff. So that's bad too. And he is just a jerkhead, and I hate his face, which is technically not a crime, but I do hate him. I hate his face, but that's in the next category. So his redeemableness. So all he wanted was a family? He was a misogynistic, narcissistic jerk. Like, some of the things he says just live on in my brain, and just sometimes will pop up, and I'll be like, I hate that man. And I'm glad that he's dead. Like, he literally has the line, a woman shouldn't read. Then she starts getting ideas and thinking. Like, how can you say this guy was just trying to have a nice family? He just thought he was pretty, so he was gonna find another pretty person so they can make more pretty people. He was completely obsessed with outward appearance, and like, was Belle's whole thing with the Beast weird? Yes. I am not trying to deny that her becoming romantically attracted to a big hairy bear boar thing is not weird. I'm not trying to deny that. It's very weird, and it might be Stockholm syndrome. But that does not mean what Gaston did was okay. He was not trying to save her. He was trying to get her for himself because she was pretty. And he was pretty. And he just wanted all the prettiness to spread around. He's just a jerk in the end. No redeemable qualities. Like, how can you even say that he just wanted a family? he has no, like, there's no scene where he is a good person who looks like would be the kind of person to want to settle down and have a family. He is completely obsessed with himself. He would be a horrible husband and father. He is just so infatuated with his own self that, like, how can you say that all he wanted was a family? He just wanted his own personal gain. That was his whole deal. Through the whole movie, he did not care about Belle. He did not care about the town. He wanted all the glory for himself. This is not a redeemable villain at all. He is a stupid, fat jerk. Even though he's not fat, that's just a word that I'm gonna use because I hate him and he's stupid. He's an idiot and he's so narcissistic and just a big butt head. So yeah, hate him. Hate this man. So, is he innocent? No. Is he redeemable? No. He's the worst one. Okay, no, he's not. There's a lot worse ones than him. He did a lot less bad things than a lot of these people, but still I hate his guts, and I just want to defend Belle because she's, I don't know. I always loved Belle, and I don't know. I relate to Belle. She's just kind of a weird girl who reads books, and people think she's weird. And I'm like, I get you. Like, we should, like, I would read books with Belle, and then we would just chill, and the town would sing a song about how weird we are, and we would just be like, sheep, look at my books, and we would be so happy. And then we would, like, hatch a plot to murder Gaston. Because I hate him that much. So, yeah. Okay, I'm done ranting about Gaston. Whew, felt good. But, okay. I'm gonna take it down a notch. I'm not gonna have that strong of opinions about any of these other people. But let's move on. So the next one we have Tangled's Mother Gothel. Now, did she do anything legally wrong? Yes, she technically killed someone because if there hadn't been magic involved, Flynn would have died. So technically there is murder there. Baby kidnapping, which is pretty bad. And just, as far as just not good things, she, lied a lot. Again, just very shady and, deceptive and sneaky, like that. So, is it reasonable? Can we see where she's coming from, however? So her whole thing was she wanted to stay young. No connection, no revenge she wanted, no real reason. She just wanted to stay pretty looking. And she was like, I'm gonna steal and do whatever I can because I want to be pretty forever. And she is pretty malicious and villainous in general. She very obviously does not care about Rapunzel, even though it may seem like, she sounds very genuine, like when she pretends to care about Rapunzel. Mother Knows Best, very fun song, and it sounds like she really is caring for Rapunzel, but she is clearly a very good actress. She's extremely dramatic, and, like, there are just details, like, if you'll notice one time, like, when they're doing their I love you more, I love you most, she says I love you most, and then she kisses Rapunzel's hair instead of her forehead. Because, that's what it was about. It was about the youth. It was never about helping anyone, and she was never hurt by anyone to do this. She was just selfish. So, I can't see how you would get around that and call her any kind of reasonable, or you see where she's coming from. So definitely not innocent. One of the more uninnocent people we've seen today, and not redeemable. Really, yeah, just not. It's not there. So, next one up, my favorite Disney villain. And he has produced my number one Disney song of all time. Like, no exaggeration, it's great. The Lion King's Scar. Yes, Be Prepared is my favorite Disney song of all time. I mean, it just goes so hard. It's just so, it just sounds so, I don't know. It just sounds so evil, but it sounds so cool. It's just like, yeah, it's just great in general. But anyway, songs aside, because we're looking at what he actually did, even though his villain song is absolutely amazing. I'm just gonna put that aside. Just look at the things he did. So, legally innocent. No. He murdered a man. A lion? Yeah. He murdered people. He hired assassins, technically. So he plotted the murder of people. He usurped the throne. He did some, like, assault. And, he did tyranny. I don't know if that's, like, a crime or anything. But I just, yeah. Very, very criminal. And, like, yeah. You don't even have to look and see if he's doing anything not technically criminal, just bad, because he was very, very, like, legally not doing the right things. Very, just murder, a lot of it. A lot of his plans centered around murder, and he was totally fine with that. So, is he redeemable in any way? Can we see where he's coming from? Okay, so, I mean, you want to say no because of all the murder, which is fine, and you should not sympathize with him necessarily because of all the murder. But, there is the thing that, like, he seems to be a very unwanted guy, First of all, his parents named him Scar, and if you look into the lore, I guess, if you're a person who does that, if you're like me and you just geek all the way out about stuff, his original name apparently translated in some language to trash. So, not even that important in his own family. And then, of course, his brother, as the stronger one, was always just more valued than he was. So, you could kind of see that just he was just undervalued, which is not an excuse for the murder. The murder is bad. The murder is very, very bad. But he does have some of those more redeeming qualities, or reasonable motives, I guess, because he just was not a valued guy. Just nobody really cared about him. So he was like, whatever, I'm just gonna make them care about me, rule of them, so get wrecked. But it didn't really work, because, yeah. And, even his brother didn't care about him. It's unfortunate because Simba seemed to like him. So, maybe there could have been a thing where him and Simba, Simba, if he just could have maybe hung out with Simba instead of focusing on his whole plan, maybe they could have had a cool uncle relationship and it could have worked out fine for him. But he was pretty focused on the murder. So, didn't work out like that. But it is a little easier to see his side of things. So, innocent? No, by no means. No means is Scar any kind of innocent. But, reasonable motives? They are there. They are kind of present. Not excusing by any means, but you can kind of see how he got to the point that he did. He's probably not just a totally evil dude. He just snapped. He probably has some mental issues he needs to work out, and he just snapped. So, yeah. Yeah. Cool. We're going to move on to, a favorite villain. of mine, and I think most people like her as well. From an underrated movie. This is The Emperor's New Groove. The Emperor's New Grooves. Yzma, however you want to handle that Y. So let's see. Innocent, first legally, no. Attempted murder, usurping the throne, all bad. Not good stuff. Again with the murder, man, a lot of these Disney villains like to murder. But, yeah. And then, she didn't really do anything besides that. She just did that one almost murder. So, not that that's good. It's just a little better than others. So, still not innocent though. Okay, redeemable. Now this is one I think people can more easily see of how, okay, I get it. I get why you kind of snapped and went crazy. So, obviously, she was fired for not really good reason from her job. And she worked for just kind of a, narcissistic jerk already. And then he fired her just because he kind of wanted to and felt like it. And he was a very ungrateful guy. And she only tried to do bad stuff to that one guy. And then, Pacha got caught up in it, but she wasn't really targeting him. She was mainly focused on hurting Kuzco, who was the guy who had, fired her and put her out to fend for herself. So, and then also she has that line about, practically raising him, which means they have some history together, and he still was an ungrateful jerk towards her. She's not a great person. She still doesn't care about, people just as much as Kuzco is that way. She's a lot like that, but he, just because of their personal thing, he was so unfair to her. It does make sense that she would want to get rid of him. It was probably a little bit about just the power, being the empress, whatever. But I feel like just mainly it was about the beef with Kuzco, which you can kind of see because he's pretty much just a jerk, he got redeemed, but she didn't get to go see all that, so, as the Disney films do, she kind of just went straight to the murder. But again, you can see, since she only did it to that one guy, you can kind of be like, okay, I get why you went there. Just don't go that far, because it's still bad. The murder is still bad. We are not saying any of these villains were right. Murder, bad. Murder, always bad. But, you can kind of be like, okay, I guess I can see how you would get there. Point A to point B. Okie dokie. Alright. Yeah, three more. Alright. Another underrated movie and underrated character, because I don't think people give this guy enough credit for how cool he is. I think he was on my list of top 10 characters, which you should watch. I linked that episode in my Disney brackets episode, which you should watch. And so if you want to see that, it's on True View Radio. Click over there. But this is Hades from Hercules. Now, let's see. Yeah, there was murder again. Yep. Tried to murder Hercules. And then just unleash general kind of what's the word? Just unleashing giant monsters, which is a lot of murder, probably. He wanted to get rid of the other Greek gods, so yeah, he probably threw murder. So he never killed anyone, but a lot of attempted murder. Never with his own hands or powers or whatever. He always sent someone to do it, but so what's that called? Just hiring an assassin? I don't know. But just connections to murder. plotting to murder. Just there is murder there. And of course he was a liar and deceiving and stuff. And, so, yeah, not innocent by any means. So, yeah, let's see. Is he redeemable? Can you see where he's coming from? I think it's pretty easy to see where he's coming from because, first of all, he's a very charismatic villain. It's pretty easy to like him, even though he is doing all this bad stuff. As just a person, for just his personality, it's like he's pretty funny. He's a good time to, just everything he says is so quick, and he's just so funny, charismatic. So that's giving him some points. And then also he was banished, so there's that whole revenge thing. He feels he was wronged. But I think he did something to deserve getting banished. Is what, like, I don't know how the movie is working with the Greek myths or whatever, but I'm pretty sure it's clear that he did something to get banished to all the underworld and stuff. I mean, like, then he became like a reject and no one would talk to him, and that's kind of mean. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's more easy to see where he's coming from. But, he was just kind of salty. He wasn't really unfairly banished, I don't think. I don't think they just kind of were like, you go do the underworld. That's your thing now. Yeah, he was just salty about getting punished. So, I mean, he was just, yeah. I don't think you could call him redeemable. So, not innocent. And it's, can't really see a good reason, any sort of good reason behind his motives. Just that he had some hurt feelings, I guess. But just, like, barely. It was mostly the saltiness. So, yeah. Man, I was harder on him than I was expecting to be, because I like him as a character. But he is pretty villainous. So, yeah. Next one. Got another underrated movie. Which often have very, very good villains, which is kind of weird. So the next one is from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The villain is Claude Frollo. Whew, this guy's got, oh my goodness, this guy's really bad. There's probably gonna be nothing good about him. I'm gonna say that right now. So let's see. Oh, what did this guy do wrong? Okay, so lots of attempted murder, like with his own hands, like a sword, directly trying to stab people, trying to burn people at the stake, burning people's houses, and attempting to execute genocide. And, like, it makes it pretty clear that he's probably killed, like, gypsies before, so probably murder as well. Just infanticide even attempted. Did not kill her. Oh, he definitely murdered Quasimodo's mom. Definitely did that. Then tried to kill Quasimodo as a baby. So he was just a terrible human and, never showed anything good about him. Like, his villain song just is so dark. Like, besides just criminal, he had this whole thing for Esmeralda, which was just kind of pretty adult for, like, what was this movie rated G? It was so messed up. It was pretty bad. Like, his whole song is about that. And he's just like, I am basically perfect. So he's like praying to his god. Fake god. And he's like, so basically I'm great, right? So I'm gonna need you to give me this lady or kill her. So, yeah, it's pretty hard to defend him. Any reason behind his motives, he thought he was better than people, and he thought that people who were not as good as him should die. And even worse, he tried to excuse it with, like, he was like, I'm doing God's work. Thou shalt not murder. Interesting God's work there. And he was mostly murdering people, like, for their ethnicity, is my understanding of it. I don't really know how that works. He just did not like these people, basically. They weren't really doing anything. And then, like, he tried to murder Quasimodo just because he was ugly. Like, this guy is not good at all. You can't say anything to defend this dude. And if you can, like, that's pretty bad. You shouldn't be able to. Like, just, if you can, you're messed up too. So, yeah, just bad all around. I'm not even gonna recap because he's just bad and terrible. So, yeah. Yeah, he's bad. Maybe, like, the most straight up evil, villainous Disney villain ever. Like, maybe. I mean, he's pretty rough. So, okay, I think this is gonna be the last one. So, last one we have to decide the villainy of is going to be Hans from Frozen. Disney's first twist villain, if I am not misinformed, or just not, if I'm not wrong. So, anyway, let's see. He did try to usurp the throne, and he tried to murder somebody directly, which is pretty bad. And he didn't really try to murder Anna. Maybe, like, neglect, I think, maybe would be that word, or something. He did something bad there. I don't know if it was, like, criminally bad, but he's got a little bit of, certainly not as to the extent as most of these, but he's got a little bit of a record, I guess. And all of his stuff was attempted as well. He never actually murdered anybody, and he never actually usurped the throne. He was in charge for, like, I don't know how long they were gone, but it wasn't long, so never really succeeded in anything, but a lot of attempted stuff, which is still bad. So, not innocent. His redeemability, is that a word? It is now, I just said it. You can kind of see it. He explains it, that he would never get anything in his own kingdom because he has so many brothers, but, not a great reason for the murder. You have to have a pretty sad, backstory for the murder thing to just be like, oh, okay, I get why you went to murder. Like, you have to go a little bit farther than I would never get to be king, or whatever. Just, there has to be a little bit more there. So, I'm not gonna call that redeemable. It's just not enough. Like, he's just kind of whiny. No good reason. He didn't really have a valid point there. I mean, and, like, basically his point was still, like, I just wouldn't be king for a really long time, or, because they would all, I guess he would probably eventually get to be king, but he was just like, I want to be king now, so murder. Always go to murder. But yeah, no, he's pretty villainous. Pretty, it's hard to defend him. Hard to make the argument. Just, he was kind of impatient. Not really any redeemable backstory or any reason. So, yeah. Not innocent. Not really any good reason. He would say it was. But, it's not really when you think about it. So, yeah. That's all the ones I'm going to do, because that's all the ones I could think of. That I've at least kind of knowledgeable about, where I would be able to determine this. So yeah. Cool. So most of these ended up not being great. Which, it's a, it feels like it's like a popular thing to try to redeem villains. I don't, to try to highlight their most sympathetic aspects of their life. But like the murder is pretty hard to get around still. And honestly, most of these guys just didn't have a good enough reason for the murder. Like, who did we even say was even a little bit kind of reasonable? Like Yzma, you were kind of like, okay, I see how you got there. And then Scar was, again, like, okay, I see how you went there. Not that you should have. That was the only two. Oh my goodness. Crazy. So, maybe we shouldn't try so hard to defend the Disney villains. Unless it, like, makes them that way. Not, like, ones that are already bad. Like, I mean, like a newer one where they have a sad backstory, because that's a thing that they do now. They decided. So, it's pretty hard to defend some of these guys, especially Gaston, because he's a big stupid idiot. So, with that, thank you for watching this episode. This episode I was going to be able to say I hit 20 followers, but guess what? One of you unfollowed. So, maybe don't do that, jerk face. And I'm just kidding, you're not a jerk face. But, follow, share it with your friends, watch the episodes. I'm enjoyable to listen to, you guys. I'm so entertaining. And yeah, leave a comment on if you had some differing opinions about the evilness of these villains, or, whatever stuff like that you think of. Tell me. You can also say whatever you want, technically, in those, just so you know. If you had other things to add, you could just say that. I mean, there's no rules. So yeah, that's gonna be it. I will see you next time. Probably got some mental disability. No. Oh.